Taurus. I have to be real with you. June is not the month to chill in your comfort zone. The energy that's coming for you is too powerful to ignore, and if you do ignore it, you might find yourself stuck, frustrated, or watching golden opportunities pass you by. This month could be a turning point, but only if you're awake to what the universe is asking from you. The cosmos is shifting. Mars is heating things up. Mercury is sharpening your mind. And Venus, your ruling planet, is calling you to emotionally align with your goals. So the real question is, will you rise or retreat? If you're a Taurus or have Taurus placements, and you've been feeling a bit stuck or craving peace more than progress, this video is your wake-up call. But it's also your roadmap. We're going deep today, not just into the stars, but into your mindset, your habits, and the quiet inner blocks that might be holding you back. And if you're new here, welcome to Zen Mind Peaceful Life, a space where astrology meets psychology and personal growth. Make sure to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and give this video a like if you're ready to align with your purpose and manifest from a place of clarity. Alright Taurus, let's see what June really has in store for you, and how you can make it your most aligned month yet. Taurus energy is known for its calm, grounded rhythm, like a beautiful tree with deep roots and steady growth. But sometimes, even the strongest trees need to bend in the wind or risk breaking. And June? June brings the winds of change. Right now, the universe is not asking you to hustle in a frantic, scattered way. It's asking for something more powerful, conscious movement. It's a very different energy from Taurus' usual pace, and that might feel uncomfortable. But that discomfort is where the magic lives. This month, Mars enters a zone in your chart that doesn't allow you to just wait and see. It's the kind of energy that nudges you at first, then starts pushing. If you ignore it, you may find yourself overwhelmed or anxious without knowing why. That's what happens when Mars wants action but your body stays still. You might feel like you're doing everything right and still not seeing results. But the truth is, this isn't a month to do what's comfortable, it's a month to do what's necessary. Imagine someone who's been working a steady job for years, showing up every day, paycheck to paycheck. Let's call her Elena. She's a Taurus sun, Capricorn rising. For the longest time, she found comfort in routine. It felt safe, predictable. But last year, she started feeling this restlessness. A quiet voice that said, "You're meant for more." She ignored it for months. Until one day, she was asked to train someone new, someone 10 years younger, earning more than her. That was the breaking point. She finally took a course she'd bookmarked for 6 months. Started freelancing on the side, and within 3 months, doubled her income. All because she moved. This is what June is asking from you. The pressure to act isn't there to break you. It's there to break you open. And with Gemini season lighting up your second house, the theme of self-worth and value comes into play. This isn't just about money, it's about how you perceive your worth. Are you charging what you're worth? Are you speaking up for what you deserve? Are you surrounding yourself with people who reflect the future version of you, not just the one that clings to familiarity? When Venus enters Cancer, you may find that the people closest to you start becoming mirrors. Some will uplift you. Others may unconsciously guilt you for wanting more. Pay close attention. Who makes you feel expansive, and who drains your energy after a 10-minute conversation? One powerful way to navigate this emotional pull is to create what I call emotional boundaries with compassion. That means giving yourself permission to grow, even if it makes others uncomfortable. You don't owe anyone your stagnation just to make them feel safe. Here's something you may want to try every morning in June. Ask yourself one question before checking your phone: what would the future version of me do today? Not the tired version. Not the afraid version. The version of you who already made the leap. Then act from that place. Just one small thing a day. That's it. What's tricky for Taurus this month is the clash between your instinct to preserve energy and the cosmic demand for boldness. It's like trying to meditate in the middle of a thunderstorm. But instead of seeing that storm as chaos, what if you saw it as activation? Your body might feel resistance, but that resistance is your inner compass pointing to where you're meant to grow. There's a common Taurus trap I want to gently bring to your attention. It's the idea that if I just wait a little longer, things will sort themselves out. It's a beautiful belief when paired with intuition. But when driven by fear, it becomes an excuse. An emotional hiding place. This month, the stars are not aligned for waiting. They're aligned for strategic, soulful action. Even if you don't know the full plan yet. Especially if you don't. You don't need all the steps. You just need the next right step. Now, Mercury's role this month can't be overlooked. It brings clarity, but only if you're willing to pause and reflect. This is a powerful time for journaling, mapping out ideas, and revisiting conversations that felt unfinished. Mercury will help you refine your thoughts, but only if you're not numbing out. That means less binge watching, more brainstorming. Less scrolling, more self-inquiry. And for those of you feeling scattered, overwhelmed, or unsure where to start, try this. Write down 3 things that are draining your energy right now. Then write 3 things that light you up. Now ask yourself, are you spending more time in the first list or the second? That small awareness can shift everything. For Taurus, June is an invitation to stop romanticizing stillness when your soul is begging you to evolve. This doesn't mean you abandon your roots. It means you allow yourself to stretch toward the sun. And here's the part that most people won't tell you. Action isn't just a behavior, it's a healing tool. When you move, you remind yourself that you're capable. That you're choosing your path. That you are not stuck. Taurus, if you've been doubting your timing or feeling like life is passing you by, June is your cosmic confirmation that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, but you won't stay here forever. Nor should you. Because if you're brave enough to respond to what June is bringing you, to move even when it's uncomfortable, this month could become a defining chapter in your personal evolution. There's so much more ahead, including how the full moon will shine a spotlight on one of your hidden patterns, and why this is the month to redefine your relationship with success itself. But we'll get to that in a minute. First, take a deep breath. This isn't about pressure. It's about possibility. And it's just getting started. There's a shift happening beneath the surface this month. And for Taurus, it's deeply emotional, whether or not you're fully conscious of it yet. As Venus moves into Cancer, there's a quiet softening, a kind of heart opening that brings your attention back to the people closest to you. And while that might sound comforting on the surface, it comes with a hidden challenge. Because when your heart opens, so do your old emotional patterns. Suddenly, you may find yourself revisiting conversations that still sting, memories that still tug, or dynamics that never really got resolved. Maybe a friend you haven't heard from in months reaches out, or a family member brings up an old topic you thought you buried. There's tenderness here, but also truth. And this is where the real growth happens. You might notice that certain people in your life suddenly feel like anchors, not the grounding kind, but the kind that pull you back when you're finally ready to sail forward. This isn't about cutting people off impulsively. It's about recognizing how your relationships either support or sabotage your expansion. Emotional loyalty is a beautiful Taurus trait, but sometimes it turns into emotional entrapment. I once worked with a client named Raymond, a Taurus moon with Leo rising. He'd been in a friendship for years that, on the surface, seemed loving. But every time he'd take a step toward a new goal, launching a podcast, pursuing a new relationship, his friend would laugh it off or find subtle ways to plant doubt. At first, Raymond didn't see it. He called it teasing, said it was just their dynamic. But over time, that dynamic became a cage. It wasn't until he spent some intentional time away during a new moon phase, just like the one coming in June, that he saw it clearly. Once he created some space, everything clicked. He wasn't crazy. He was just emotionally loyal to someone who was emotionally insecure. That's the kind of insight June is bringing to you. This is where astrology meets emotional intelligence. When Venus enters a water sign like Cancer, it doesn't just want you to feel, it wants you to understand the emotional ecosystem you're living in. And more importantly, it wants you to tend to your own emotional garden first. If you feel drained after seeing someone, that matters. If you walk away from a conversation second-guessing yourself, that matters. These aren't just moods or overthinking. These are signals. They're feedback from your soul. And June is the month to finally listen. One thing I often recommend during this kind of transit is the energy audit. Not a to-do list. Not a productivity planner. Just one simple practice. Every night, ask yourself, who gave me energy today, and who took it away? Do this for 7 days. You'll be amazed what you start to see. No drama. Just clarity. As all of this unfolds, your ruling planet Venus also brings you back to something deeper, your emotional relationship with success. And this is where things get even more interesting. Because this month, success doesn't just look like climbing ladders or hitting goals. It looks like emotional congruence, being aligned with what actually feels right for you. Not what looks good on paper. Not what your parents wanted. Not what your old self was trying to prove. But what your current self truly desires. There's a reason you may have felt tension building this month. Especially around mid-June. You might feel like you're pushing forward in one area of your life, only to feel emotionally pulled back in another. That's not a mistake. It's a sign of internal misalignment. If your goals and your emotional life are at odds, your progress will stall, because you can't force a flower to bloom in frozen soil. This month, your job isn't to hustle harder. It's to soften where you've gone rigid, and get real with what you're actually craving beneath all the distractions. Which brings us to the deeper truth of this moment. You're being asked to confront the parts of yourself that still think you need to earn your worth. Saturn, often feared in astrology, is actually your ally right now. Not because it makes life easier, but because it makes life clearer. Saturn is like the wise teacher who doesn't grade on effort. It grades on truth. You either did the inner work or you didn't. You either showed up for yourself or you postponed it again. But here's the thing about Saturn energy, it's never about shame. It's about structure. It wants you to build something that lasts. And that includes your sense of self. If you're still defining your value based on how productive you are, how many boxes you check off, or how much external praise you receive, Saturn's going to gently or not so gently call you out. And the lesson? Self-worth is not a reward. It's a foundation. You don't earn it. You recognize it. This is one of the most empowering lessons Taurus can learn this month. The work you're doing, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, is not just about getting somewhere. It's about becoming someone. Someone grounded in their worth even when they're in transition. Someone who doesn't need proof to feel powerful. One client I worked with, a Taurus Sun and Libra Moon, was trying to leave her job for nearly a year. She kept telling herself she needed to save more, prepare more, get one more certification. The truth was, she already had everything she needed, but she didn't feel ready because she didn't believe she was enough without the validation of her title. When we started working on her sense of self-worth, healing the inner narrative that said I'm only valuable when I'm producing, everything changed. She walked away from the job. She didn't crash. She rose. That's the possibility June holds for you. But you have to be honest. You have to be willing to ask the hard questions. And you have to be brave enough to act on the answers. Let's be real, that's not always comfortable. But you didn't come to this lifetime to stay comfortable. You came here to grow. And Taurus, especially when guided by intention, is one of the most resilient, powerful, and unstoppable energies in the zodiac. When you commit to your path, You don't just move forward, you build legacy. So if things feel heavy this month, that's okay. If the emotional weather feels unpredictable, breathe through it. This isn't chaos. It's cosmic construction. The stars are setting the foundation for your next chapter. But they need you to show up with your full self, not just the parts you think are presentable. There's more coming. The full moon ahead will bring something powerful to light, a truth about your habits, your inner critic, or even a relationship dynamic you've been avoiding. And how you respond to that truth will shape the second half of your year. But more on that soon. Right now, just know this: June is not testing you. It's inviting you to realign, to rise, and to remember who you truly are, beneath the doubts, beyond the distractions. You've got this. And we're just getting started. There's a moment, quiet, often invisible, when we know it's time to stop waiting and start becoming. For Taurus, June is packed with those quiet moments. At first glance, they look like ordinary decisions. Do I speak up in this meeting? Do I send that application? Do I finally start waking up earlier? But beneath them is something sacred, the call to realignment. This month, your success isn't driven by how much you do, it's defined by how intentionally you do it. And that begins with presence. With recognizing that the smallest shift, if done with clarity, can lead to transformation. The astrological backdrop right now is pushing Taurus toward clarity in motion. The cosmos doesn't need you to be everything at once. It needs you to stop hiding behind hesitation. Because behind that hesitation is usually something deeper, a fear of failure, of course. But often, for Taurus, it's a fear of instability. Of making a move that could shake the ground you've worked so hard to steady. But here's where that changes. This June, your real power comes not from resisting change, but from directing it. There's a saying I share often with clients when Taurus energy is involved: don't confuse being still with being safe. Because a lot of people who feel stuck aren't actually stuck. They're simply scared of making the wrong move, so they make no move. They stay in limbo. Emotionally, professionally, spiritually. It's like standing in a doorway, not going forward but not walking away either. And that in-between space? That's where energy drains. That's where self-doubt breeds. So if you're feeling exhausted and unsure why, start there. Ask yourself, what decisions am I avoiding right now? Not because you don't have the answer, but because the answer requires courage. I remember working with a client named Lynn, a Taurus rising, who had been in the same city, same career, same daily routine for almost a decade. She told me, I know I want more. But every time I try to change something, I second guess it. What if I regret it? What if it doesn't work out? What we uncovered together was that her fear wasn't about failure. It was about identity. Who would she be without the structure she had built her life around? And that's such a Taurus dilemma, when the structure becomes so familiar that you mistake it for yourself. But once she started making tiny shifts, adding new experiences into her day, connecting with people outside of her comfort zone, testing new paths, something awakened. It didn't take a huge leap. Just a series of small, brave moves that reminded her she wasn't stuck. She was simply unpracticed in change. June is here to remind you of that too. This is a month for retraining your relationship with action. Not frantic, empty action, but grounded, intuitive action. The kind that aligns your daily choices with your future self. The kind that doesn't wait for perfect timing, but trusts that movement creates momentum. If you're struggling to get started, do this: visualize the version of you that already lives the life you want. What does their morning look like? What do they prioritize? How do they speak to themselves? Now, imitate that. Embody that, even if it feels awkward at first. Because repetition creates identity. And when Taurus commits to repetition, magic unfolds. This month also opens a huge doorway around communication and mental clarity. Mercury is helping Taurus see the truth in ways you might have avoided before. And it's not always comfortable. Mercury doesn't sugarcoat. It exposes. It says, here's what you've been avoiding. Now let's clean it up. Some of you may experience this through an uncomfortable but necessary conversation. Maybe it's with a coworker, a sibling, a partner. Maybe it's with yourself. Maybe it sounds like, I'm not happy here anymore. Or, I've been lying to myself about how much this is costing me. Or even, I'm ready for something more, and I'm scared to say that out loud. If those words are rising in you, don't push them down. Speak them somewhere. Even if it's just in your journal. Because what you name, you reclaim. That's the essence of Mercury's magic. Truth liberates energy. When you stop wasting your energy holding things in, you suddenly have more to create, move, shift, build. And Taurus, you were born to build. This month also brings an invitation to detox, mentally, emotionally, and even digitally. Because so much of what's blocking your clarity isn't your lack of insight, it's the noise you haven't filtered out. Take an honest look at what you're consuming, the media, the opinions, the habits, even the food. Is it helping you feel lighter, clearer, more connected? Or is it subtly keeping you numb? Here's something gentle but powerful you can try. Choose a quiet hour each day in June. No social media, no background noise, no distractions. Just you and your thoughts. Let your nervous system breathe. Let your mind catch up with your soul. You'll be amazed at what you start to hear once you give yourself silence to listen. And then, as the weeks move forward, something remarkable happens. Opportunities begin to show up. It's not coincidence. It's resonance. The more aligned you become internally, the more life reflects that alignment externally. You might get a call, an offer, a sign, something that feels like a nudge. Pay attention. These aren't just random moments. They are answers to prayers you haven't fully spoken yet. Taurus doesn't need 100 options to move forward. You just need one thing that feels solid. When it comes, trust it. That might look like a freelance gig that leads to something bigger. A reconnection that brings closure. A small idea that sparks a bold vision. It might feel too small to matter at first, but energy builds. Especially for Taurus, whose power lies in commitment. One thing to remember this month, your consistency is your secret weapon. While others burn out chasing everything, you win by showing up again and again for what matters. Even when it's boring. Even when it's not Instagram-worthy. Keep tending your foundation. Keep watering what you planted months ago. Even if it hasn't sprouted yet. Some seeds take longer, not because they're weak, but because they're meant to last. And finally, don't be surprised if money starts moving this month. Either toward you, or away from what's no longer aligned. That's not punishment. That's energetic adjustment. For Taurus, financial patterns often reflect emotional truth. If you're clinging to income sources that feel draining, it may be time to shift. If you've been undervaluing your work, June is your sign to raise your standards. I spoke with a Taurus Sun client, Maya, who finally asked for a raise after years of over-delivering and undercharging. She was terrified. But you know what happened? They gave her more than she asked for. Not because they suddenly saw her value, but because she finally claimed it. That's what June is about. Claiming your value. Not waiting for proof. Not asking for permission. Just choosing it to daily, quietly, consistently. You don't have to make a big announcement. You just have to make a new decision. And then, another. And another. That's how real change happens. Not all at once. But in the steady, sacred rhythm that Taurus knows better than anyone. And the best part? You haven't even hit your peak yet. The full moon coming later this month is preparing something powerful, an emotional release, a moment of clarity, maybe even a turning point. But more on that soon. For now, just breathe. Trust that you're right where you need to be. And remember, this month is not about pressure. It's about presence. It's about aligning with the version of you that's already waiting on the other side of fear. And that version? They're not far. They're just one brave step away. There's a pattern that plays out often for Taurus energy, especially when life asks you to stretch. You begin with a clear goal. Maybe even a vision. But slowly, quietly, the comfort of what you already know starts whispering in your ear. It says, take a break, you've done enough. Or wait a little longer, things will work themselves out. It's soft. It's seductive. And it feels like wisdom. But here's the truth most people won't tell you, not every still moment is rooted in peace. Sometimes stillness is just fear dressed as patience. June wants you to know the difference. This is where the emotional shadow of Taurus can show up, confusing stillness with stagnation. That's why this month is your sacred checkpoint. A moment to look at what stillness actually means in your life right now. Is it restoration? Or is it resistance? Sometimes we call it trusting the universe, when really, we're avoiding action because we don't want to deal with the discomfort of change. We say things like, I'll wait for the sign. Not realizing that the sign is the urgency we feel inside our own chest. That rising inner tension? That restlessness? That's the sign. You are the sign. A lot of Taurus energy carries wisdom from the earth. You know how to hold space. You know how to be steady. But June is here to remind you that even the earth quakes when something powerful is ready to shift. So if you've been meditating, visualizing, planning, but not moving, ask yourself, is this stillness, or is this a spiritual excuse for avoidance? And here's a powerful way to break that cycle gently: commit to one bold, visible action this month that puts your intentions into the world. Not just in your head. Not just in your journal. But out loud. In front of people. Maybe it's posting your offer. Reaching out to someone who intimidates you. Booking the trip. Starting the course. Investing in the idea. It doesn't have to be loud, but it has to be real. Because there's something magical that happens when Taurus energy stops waiting for safety and starts creating momentum. You become unstoppable, not because you're the fastest mover, but because you don't turn back. This is where your consistency becomes your superpower. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Yes, but the deeper archetype here is devotion. You're not meant to sprint. You're meant to sustain. And that's what this month rewards: people who show up again and again for what matters. Even when no one's clapping. Even when nothing big is happening. Even when motivation fades. If you've been feeling like your goals are too far away, or your progress is too slow, I want to say something clearly to you. It's not about speed. It's about rhythm. Your energy, your magic, your success, they're not designed for the quick win. They're built for lasting success. The kind that feels like home inside your nervous system. The kind that doesn't need hype to thrive. Just truth, effort, and belief. And the best part? You already have everything you need to build that. It's not in some course. It's not in some future version of yourself. It's here. Now. Inside your ability to keep showing up for your path even when no one's watching. So this month, I encourage you to pick one thing and stay loyal to it. Not just when it's exciting, but especially when it's not. That's the Taurus mastery, loyalty to the vision even when it's invisible. And as we close out June, the message becomes even clearer. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing what actually matters. Too often, we confuse effort with alignment. We try to prove ourselves with busyness. But the truth? Success rarely comes from doing everything. It comes from doing the right things with clear, grounded energy. There's a beautiful practice I suggest for this, especially in the last days of June. Take 20 minutes to sit in silence with one question. What do I need to stop doing to become who I'm becoming? That's it. No to-do list. Just a let-go list. And let yourself grieve whatever you're ready to outgrow. That version of you kept you safe once. But now, she's holding you back. If you listen closely, you'll hear it. The whisper of your next chapter. The quiet call to embody a version of yourself that no longer waits for permission, proof, or perfection. And the final message of June? The universe is ready. But it can't move until you do. Doors will open. People will show up. Money will flow. Ideas will crystallize. But only if your energy matches your intention. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be faithful. To your path. To your progress. To your power. So Taurus, take the leap. Make the move. Show up for the vision that keeps tugging at your soul. And trust this truth. You don't have to know how it will all work out. You just have to know you're worth the journey. If this message resonated with you today, take a moment to breathe it in. Let it land. Let it remind you of who you are and what you're here to become. And if you felt seen, if you felt something shift inside you, this is your sign. You're not alone on this journey. And if you want more videos that mix astrology with soul-aligned growth, subscribe to Zen Mind Peaceful Life right now. Hit that like button, share this with a fellow Taurus, or anyone who needs a cosmic nudge, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update from the universe. Drop a comment below and let me know, what's one thing you're committing to this June? No more excuses. I'll be in the comments, cheering you on. Until next time, stay steady. Stay soulful, and keep choosing the life your future self will thank you for. You've got this.